Hey, what's up, Memphis Mafia fans? Gene Jackson here. And before we get started with a new episode of Dangerous Conversations, I just want to take a moment real quick to remind everybody the new book, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, The Uncrowned King of Professional Wrestling, is available now. You can find it over at tinyurl.com/Eddie Gilbert book. You can also find it at amazon.com, barnesandnoble.com, booksamillion.com, and many other reputable booksellers across the internet. But you can also find it at thcringside.com. And speaking of thcringside.com, on behalf of Doug Gilbert, Tommy Rich, and myself, just like to take a moment here at the beginning to thank Christopher Pelton and Timothy Beal for coming out to Philadelphia. They came and sat down over some cheesesteaks with us and had lunch, and we had a nice meeting about some future book projects that involve Tommy Wildfire Rich and the Memphis Mafia and some other things, including maybe some movie projects in the future. So really cool stuff. We want to thank those guys for coming out and spending some time with us, talking with us, and selling the Eddie Gilbert book over at the convention on Saturday. We want to thank everybody who purchased the book. There's a lot of books sold and signed, and we had a great time, and we're going to talk all about that right here today on this episode of Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. So without further ado, let's get going.
From title belts to Hall of Fame, Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughter, pride. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans want to know. Gas kings ruling the waves. Memphis wrestling raising the stage.
Hey everybody, welcome back again for another episode of Dangerous Conversations with Dangerous Doug Gilbert and Tommy Wildfire Rich. Guys, we made it. We're back from Philadelphia, but what a weekend.
What a weekend. My man, Mean G. Hey, we had a good time, though, didn't we, man?
Man, we sure did. We we had a great time. Doug, how was? I know that you didn't room with me and Tommy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but what was your take?
Well, if I would room with you and Tommy, you'd woke up cuddling or spooning or something.
Well, we're gonna talk about how close that could have been to happening here in just a minute. That's not as bad as it sounds, but we'll explain what that means. So stick around to find out what the hell that even means.
It was pretty dang scary. I heard it.
So real quick, before we get into what that statement even means, let's talk about a couple of things that you got coming up real quick. Me personally, this Saturday night, I will be in Jackson, Tennessee at Cody's Bar and Grill doing some stand-up comedy. So if you're in the area, and I've heard from some listeners of the show that they're planning on coming out. So look forward to seeing them there. So if you want more information, you can check it out on Facebook.
Hey, what's the difference between stand-up and sit-down comedy?
This past weekend, I would have had to do sit-down comedy. I don't think I could have stood up with my foot in the shape it was.
You out at that Atlanta airport in that foot, didn't you?
That's right. And we'll explain that here in a minute too. By next weekend or this coming weekend, I should be able to do some stand-up comedy, hopefully.
Hey, Gene, and I think I might be free Saturday, so I might show up down there and see some people. And everybody come out and see Gene. I hear he's hilarious at his stand-up comedy act, but now I've never seen it. But I could see Gene being hilarious after this weekend.
Yeah, he was funny in that room.
Well, Well, Tommy, if you ain't got nothing going on this weekend, you need to hop on a plane again and come hang out with me and Doug.
I heard you say something. I didn't even know you did that, man. And I heard you and Doug talk about it. I think it's really cool. And if I was there, I'd dang sure be there. And if you're in Jackson, get the opportunity, check old Gene out and let me know how he is.
Well, you guys are going to be hitting the road again before long. Thursday, June the 12th. Got that big Mayfield Mayhem show coming up there. Pro Wrestling Entertainment, Memphis Mafia, along with the King, Jerry Lawler, right there. They always put on a great event, don't they, Doug?
Man, they put on a great event. They've got a great promoter, Jason James. And, man, he's a great dude. He takes care of all of us guys. And, man, he puts on great shows. I just can't brag on him enough and everything. And like I said, if you got Wildfire there, the King there, and Dangerous Doug there, and he's got all kind of great young talent and everything. It'd be a show that the people won't want to miss.
Mayfield, Kentucky, man. I'm somebody say something excited about going. Looking forward to seeing the King. And hey, got having me. Looking forward to being there. This will be my first rodeo, and I think it's going to be a big night. From all Dougie's told me, go to the Superman thing too, right?
That's right. Rolling right out of Mayfield, Kentucky on Thursday night, headed to Metropolis, Illinois on Friday and Saturday night for that big Superman festival. That's going to be a lot of fun too. That's always a big event up there.
Oh man, they tell me that's great, Gene. I've never been to it. I mean, I don't know if you have or Tommy has or whatever, but man, the King tells me it's a great event, and you know he's a Superman fanatic and everything. And man, I can't wait to go. And me and Tommy will be signing during the day on both days. And like I said, I think it's gonna be a blast.
Hey, the King just got that hero thing. I mean, anybody got a Batmobile in their garage, they love all the superheroes. He got a little bit of all of them. I went to his house one time with Dougie. We was going by. Dougie said, "You got to see this." And hey, King invited us in, showed us around, man. He got it from Superman statue to the Batmobile that goes. Yeah. I had a real good time with that. Looking forward to seeing Jerry. And used to, I wouldn't even said that. I would never said Little Long said I'm looking forward to seeing him. But it's going to be in Mayfield, man. I'm excited about that. Like I said, it's my first time. Dougie told me how big the show is and everything. Hey, them Kentucky Rasslecon fans and anywhere else around it, man, y'all need to show up for that. And then, like you said, I say the name of that Illinois town, but we're going to the Superman. That's Friday and Saturday, so I'm pretty fired about that stuff. I love all the characters too, so it's always fun, especially everybody dresses up. So you see all kinds of walks of life. So I'm excited about that too. Going to be a big, long.
And Gene, you need to look sometime to see if me or Tommy, either one, have been in Mayfield, Kentucky. I bet Tommy has. I mean, I haven't, but
I'll check that out before next week's show. I've never been to the deal in Metropolis, but I've heard from a lot of people who have, and I know a lot of people that go every year, wrestling fans and otherwise. So big event. I've had a lot of people messaging me since I got back home Sunday night. People were listening to last week's show, and they heard us talking about.
Can I ask you one question before you get on the roll?
Please do.
When you got to that Atlanta airport, did you ride that train back?
You best believe I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, and kids too, y'all will enjoy this. This is a comedy in itself.
Yeah, I could just go on stage Saturday night and tell this freaking story, and people would laugh at me. I don't know if it'd be considered a comedy act, but people laugh at my dumb ass nonetheless. So,
I found it pretty humorous myself till I had to fix your foot.
Yeah, till you saw my foot, and then you said, "Oh God, that's bad, Gene, that's bad." And I'm like, "Oh no, that's worse than I thought."
And everything else, I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Hey, Gene. He had to fix you and me, right?
Yeah, so that afternoon he fixed my foot, and then later that evening you came over, he popped your back and your neck, and there's a video of that online, folks, that apparently 2.7 thousand people have watched so far. It's called Tommy Rich MD is the title of the video, and it's Tommy doing his chiropractic work on Doug, and then explaining where he learned it from. And you might be surprised to hear a couple of the people who taught him that trick. But man, Doug popped up off that bed. He stood up straighter than he did when he walked in that room, and from all accounts, seemed to feel a lot better. So Tommy knows what he's doing.
Well, you know why I adjusted him? Because he told me, he said he told me he wasn't going to be able to do nothing in that ring if he didn't get feeling better. I had to pull on him.
One way or another, you were getting him fixed Friday night, right?
Yeah, I was getting him
Hey, he told me if I had to come back for 3 more sessions, come back that night.
Yeah.
Well, he got it done. If you don't believe us, watch that video. It's kind of scary. You'll watch it more than once, because when you see Tommy's almost like a golfer. Like, he pivots his hips when he goes to twist Doug's neck. He's like, it's one big motion. And I dare you not to jump the first time you watch it, because you're like, I'm about to see a guy get his neck broke right here on a Facebook video. This is crazy. And then Doug's is right as rain. He's good to go. So check it out. And he's not taking appointments or anything yet, but we'll see coming up if that'll be a new service offered.
Pay it. If it pays good, we will make we'll do house calls.
We'll add that to the meet and greet line next time. This line, picture, autograph, adjustment over here. So
you ain't kidding. We have a chiropractic table set up beside our picture table.
That's right. Hey, we're always looking for new revenue streams, right?
Books,
chiropractic tables. We're just going to keep adding until we get it all figured out. But so, yeah, we talked about last week. This was going to be my first time flying. I've never even been inside of an airport prior to this past week. So this last Thursday, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I went to worked all day. That evening, I ran around, and my plan was I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, about an hour and a half earlier than I normally do, so that evening I could lay down and sleep for a few hours before I had to leave my house at 1 a.m. to catch my early morning flight in Atlanta. But it didn't work out that way. I never got any sleep. So I left my house that night, having not been to sleep since Wednesday night. I drive to Atlanta, go to the airport. A guy I work with is like, hey, just go to that park and ride thing. You park, they take you right up to the airport. They drop you off right where you need to go. You won't have to even ask any questions. Well, I go to the park and ride, and it's closed. It's full. They say no more parking. So I go drive around the parking deck. I'm like, I'm not going to find a parking place. I'm going to miss my flight. So I'm freaking out. But I finally find a parking place, jump out. I go to take off. I'm like, you know what? I probably should take a picture of that sign right there. That might be important later. And thank God I did, or I'd still be looking for my freaking car in the Atlanta airport parking lot. So I snap that picture. I go inside. I check my bag. I stand in line at the TSA line, 3 a.m., a lot more people in the TSA line than you think there would be. Get through it. I take my belt off and my shoes and all that jazz. I get through the line, and I come out, and there's a guy standing there, and I was like, hey, I show him my phone. I said, hey, where do I need to go to catch my plane? He's like, it says, it looks like Concourse F 11. So that'd be Concourse F, gate 11. I was like, all right, where's that at? He's like, you got to go all the way down this hallway right here. Just go straight down this. I don't know if he's ribbing me or not, or if he just assumed I wasn't an idiot.
I think, well, see, you didn't tell me that part. Maybe he did rib you to see.
He may have.
Yeah, he probably thought
Probably
you
was
see that train down there going, and
Probably
asked
was a
somebody
freaking wrestler.
what that was.
So I look over and I see this train. I'm like, that must be that. Like, you must be able to take that back into the city, I guess. You know, that's like the subway or some shit. I don't know. So here I go. And I get going, and I'm already starting to sweat after just a few minutes, because I'm just now. I walked for what I felt like a really long time, and I was only at Concourse A, and I'm going to Concourse F. And it says Concourse F, 44-minute walk. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! I'm gonna miss my freaking plane. So I start huffing it through there. I'm sweating. Freaking hour later, it feels like I get down to F, and I'm looking around. I don't see a gate 11. So I show my phone to a security guard there, and she scrolls my phone up a notch, a little higher than where it was. She's like, no, honey, it's gate E4. I'm like, I got to go back. I got to walk all the way back down to gate E. And she's like, no, you ain't got to walk. Just get on that train over there. I'm like, get on the train. I'm like, you telling me I could have rode that effing train from all the way at the other end of this airport to here? She's like, yeah, you don't walk. And as I'm sitting on the train, just mad at the world, I'm thinking, there was nobody in that hallway. I walked by myself through this entire airport. That was weird. So I get on the train, boom, I'm right there at Gate E, and I'm sitting there blown up for an hour until they board the plane. And then there was turbulence and stuff on the plane. Didn't even care. I was just so happy to be sitting down. Didn't even care.
I haven't asked you, Gene. How was your flight? How did that experience go?
The flight wasn't bad. So there was nobody sitting in the middle seat, so I had elbow room and everything. And flight wasn't bad at all, honestly. Like I said, there was a little bit of turbulence, but
you wasn't nervous or anything.
No, I was like, this thing can crash right now. That doesn't mean I want to walk back through this freaking airport when I get back, or this one in Philadelphia I'm about to get to. So I get to Philadelphia, I get off the plane. I'm like, if I see a train, we're riding that thing. But there wasn't a train. I didn't see a train at this one, but I didn't have to. Go to the luggage carousel. There's my suitcase. I walk right up to it. I'm like, holy cow, this was a lot easier than I thought. Grab the suitcase, go out the front door. There's a sign right there, shuttle to the hotel for free. And I was like, all right. So I hung out there about 5 minutes. A bus pulls up that says Double Day on the side of it, or Double Tree. I'm like, that's my hotel. Get on the shuttle, ride over to the hotel. Now, another thing, folks, I am getting to this hotel at 9 a.m. on Friday morning. We're not supposed to check in till Friday evening. So I'm thinking there's no way this room's going to be ready. But I had to take the early morning flight because that's what I could afford.
But what did I tell you, Gene? You're going to be took care of, right?
Yes. So my good friend Doug had already called ahead. He talked to Joel Goodhart, and they called the hotel. So I go in, and I'm like, hey, man, I know it is 9 o'clock in the morning. There's no way there's a room ready, but I'm just letting you know that I'm here. And he's like, who are you with? And I tell him who I'm with. He's like, oh, we got you. You're set. And I'm like, all right, right on. So I go straight up to the room. I'm like, man, I'm fixing to lay down in the bed. I'm fixing to sleep. I was like, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to sleep until I knew Doug wasn't getting in till like 4:30. Tommy wasn't getting in till like 3 or 4. I'm like, I got the rest of the day. I'll sleep. I walk in the room. I look around the room like, all right, this ain't bad. And then I look to my left, and there's one king size bed. And that's it. And I'm like, one bed? What is this? And the first thing I hear in my head, a clip from the podcast last week of Doug saying, yeah, you're going to wake up Saturday morning with Tommy Rich spooning you. And I'm like, damn, he knew there was only one bed. He knew. I'm like, and Tommy didn't even say nothing. I'm like, so I know he's not okay with it. Like, there's no way Tommy's okay. Like, me and Tommy's pretty cool now. I'm like, I'm almost an honorary member of the Memphis Mafia, but it ain't like sleeping in the bed together kind of tight just yet. We ain't there. So there was a little chair in the corner of the room. So like, I'm going to sit in this chair. I'm not going in the bathroom. I'm not touching anything. I'm not even going to take a piss in this room. I'm going to sit in that chair until we figure this out. So I go and I sit down, and I kind of half doze off in the chair. And about an hour and a half later, Tommy calls. He's like, hey, man, just want to make sure you made it. Were you able to get in the room? I'm like, hey, believe it or not, I'm sitting in the room right now. He's like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they got you in the room. Good deal. All right. Well, I'll be heading in around so-and-so time. We kind of chat for a minute. I'm like, he's like, well, how's the room? I go, well, room's pretty good, except there's one bed. And he goes, yeah, all right, Gene, really? I go, there's one bed. He's like, quit bullshitting, Gene. There's two beds, right? I'm like, Tommy, I'm not playing with you right now. I can send you a picture. There's one bed. No. You got to go talk to somebody.
I told him, I said, you swear to God? He said, I swear to God. When he told me he swore to God, I said, we got to figure something out.
And I said, well, look, I knew this probably wasn't the program. I said, but then again, I remember what Doug said, and I didn't want to go down there and just raise hell and get him to change the room and end up costing Joel a bunch of money or something. He's like, no, go down there. I was like, I got you. So I go down there. I was like, hey, man, you remember how I said I got a roommate that's going to be coming in later on? He's like, yeah. I was like, there's only one bed up there. He's like, oh, did y'all need two? I said, yeah. I said roommate, not that kind of, we're not. I said, don't get the wrong idea about these wrestling people, man. It's not like that. And he goes, so the guy started laughing. He's like, I got you, brother. He said, do we need to send the maid back up there? I said, no, man, I haven't touched anything. I've sat in the chair. I haven't done anything to that room. He's like, all right, well, here's your, change room keys. And I go up there. I see there's 2 beds. So I immediately call Tommy, like, all right, crisis averted. We got 2 beds now. We're good. And of course, Tommy breathed a sigh of relief, and the whole weekend took on a different look.
But you didn't tell him the news, though.
Which part?
About the crime scene being in the room.
Oh, yeah. So I was so excited there was 2 beds. I completely just overlooked. And if this was video right now, I'd show you a picture. We'll have to put it up on the Facebook. There was like a big red circle on the floor where it looked like somebody had maybe bled out or had their head bashed in. Didn't even care. Like 2 beds. That's fine. I told Tommy, like, there's a big red spot on the floor. He's like, that's cool. Yeah. Whatever, man. So he got there and stepped over the big red spot, and we had 2 beds.
Bed is all right.
That's right. So yeah, like I said, I was hoping eventually that I would, get in with these guys enough that I maybe like an honorary member of the Memphis Mafia, but not like sleeping in the bed together on the first trip. That felt like a big move. I'm hoping maybe eventually we get comfortable enough that, I can call Doug Dougie like Tommy does, but I don't think we're quite there yet. But, we're getting there. But, yeah. So turns out this didn't just happen to me and Tommy. Ricky and Carrie Morton get in their room. They've got 1 bed. And they were none too happy either. They were in the hallway cutting a promo about it. So yeah. So then we sit around the room for a little bit. We go outside, and Tommy sits down and has a smoke, and we see people pulling up. There's Manny Fernandez pulls up in his SUV that he drove all the way from Texas to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and he's got like half a freaking kennel of dogs in there. Like it's like a clown car of dogs. Like he just keeps bringing dogs out of this Suburban into the side, and he's got so he pulls. I got to tell this. So he pulls up, and I'm looking at the driver, and I'm like, that looks like Manny Fernandez. And I hear Tommy goes, "Hey, it's Rob." And I'm looking at Manny going, "Who's that? Look, that's Rob." And then I realized the guy who got out on the passenger side has a ponytail, and from behind the door, he looks like he could be Rob Van Dam until he steps out from behind the door, and he's clearly not Rob Van Dam. And Tommy's like, "Oh, that's not Rob." But we still went over and talked to him anyway. And then, like I say, then Manny starts just bringing dog after dog after dog out. And that was fun. And so we hung out around the hotel, and Bay Ragni, a.k.a. Chubby Dudley, and some of the different ECW guys were there, and we hung out with them and told stories.
Man, he's really cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a great guy.
He's a good guy. And where did he tell you Jeannie lives now? Did he tell us?
He's in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's what I thought he said.
Yeah.
And everything. That's cool.
Yeah, he's a Nashville boy now. And then I run into a guy in the lobby who's from here in Gadsden that wrestles on a little show over at the mall over here. So chatted with him for a little while. He got to be one of the lumberjacks in the big lumberjack match on Saturday night. So he was pretty excited about that. And then, I checked one of the things off the list I wanted to do. Me and the Big Don ordered us a pizza, and we ate us a pizza in the room.
We got a slice.
That's right. We got a slice, the Paisan. And then, having not slept since Wednesday night, I said, Tommy, I think I'm fixing to turn over. That's the last word I remember. I rolled over, and I was out.
Now, the foot, though, how do you fix your foot up?
Okay, so, again, I guess I neglected that part of the story. After the bed thing sorted itself out, there was now a second bed.
We are. I mean, he's in kind of for me to touch his old foot to help him bandage it. He had a big where he decided that he'd just do the walk instead of taking the train. He had a big old blister where the skin ripped off about the size of a silver dollar, and I helped him patch it up. Oh, I've seen busted heads, twist his arms, and this looked nasty. Yeah, it was hard for me to help him, but we got his foot patched up.
You put some Neosporin on it, right?
I took my shoe off, and the whole bottom of my sock was bloody, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's more serious than I thought." So, I took a look at it. I went and got a wet rag and wetted it down and wiped it off, and then I got in bed and I went to sleep. And then when Tommy got there, like I said, I couldn't really see it good. I can't see. I'm 47 and fat, so I can't exactly bend my head down there and look at the bottom of my foot. So I was like, boy, this thing hurts, but maybe it's not that bad. And that's when I say I took my sock off and was like, what does it look like, Tommy? And that's when Tommy goes, oh, Gene, that's bad. That's bad. And I'm like,
it was bad.
Fall off. Like this is not good. But yeah, hey, wrestler bag. He had Neosporin. We got a hold of some bandages. We wrapped that thing up Saturday morning, and we headed to the 2300 arena for a big day, and met up with you over there. Now here's the fun part for Doug. We seen him the night before, and he fixed Tommy's neck and all that. But here comes Doug and Melissa in, and he has a suitcase.
All right, hold on a second. Tommy fixed my neck, not me fixed.
Did I say it backwards?
Yeah, that's okay then.
Tommy fixed Doug's neck. Excuse me.
There you go.
Again, video.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, there's video to prove it. Go check it out on the Facebook page. So this huge suitcase, Doug comes rolling it in. I was like, man, he brought a lot of pictures this time. And he's like, try to lift the suitcase. I was like, okay. I can't lift the suitcase. And he's got a suitcase full of the new Eddie Gilbert book that he had to get on a flight and bring with him to Philadelphia. I know that had to be fun to navigate that through the airport and load it up and get it off the carousel and all that.
I told Tommy, I said, I've never carried I carry one bag with me, anytime. And which my wife, she was with me and everything, but we wound up having 4 bags. I told Tommy, I said, I've never in my life carried this many bags anywhere.
When you hold that book in your hand, it's not a heavy book, but when you get a suitcase, it felt like a suitcase full of bricks. I felt so bad for y'all having to try to lug that thing all the way up there. It was brutal, but hey, you didn't have to take any back because a lot of books were purchased there on Saturday.
They was all purchased.
Yeah, so thanks to everyone who did that.
I didn't lug no books back or even the suitcase. I give the suitcase to my book guy.
Yeah, you're like, here's a donation.
And it's as orange as my shirt.
So, yeah, man, sold all the books, and you signed a bunch of them, and a lot of great fans there. You guys signed a lot of pictures and took pictures and got to go around. And, I met a lot of folks I had never met before, fan-wise and wrestler-wise, but I know some of those wrestlers, like those ECW folks, it had to be years since you've seen a lot of those folks, right?
Oh, it's been years since I've seen them. Like, I think you got a clip of one guy saying that he hadn't saw me. Actually, I think is that the booker of it and everything, right? When he's telling you a story about Eddie.
Yeah, we've got a clip of Bay Ragni, and then of course Joel Goodhart himself.
Yeah,
seeing you on this podcast screen, had not seen you since what was that? 91?
Yeah, I think it was 91. 90?
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah.
So right when we first got to the arena, Tommy hooked up with Tony Atlas, and of course those guys, great friends, tag team partners, champions together. And so we sat them down, and there's going to be a great clip we're going to play for you here in just a little bit here on the show of Tony and Tommy hanging out, and Tony telling some great stories about their time as a tag team, and kind of telling about how Tommy come through there and set the place on fire his first night there, Doug. And Tony even tells a story about how he became Wildfire, which was fun. I had never really heard it straight from the horse's mouth, so that was cool. So look forward to that later in the show, folks.
Oh, that'll be really cool.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see Tony, man. And shoot, he ain't changed none. He's the same Tony, man. We all got a little older, but he ain't changed none. And of course, getting to see Sandman, and of course Ricky and Robert was there. I mean, it was a big turnout. I mean, and a lot of fans there too.
Oh yeah, folks, mention the Sandman. I don't know how many people remember, if you watched ECW in like 95, 96, they did the deal where Raven had kidnapped Sandman's son, Tyler Fullerton, and put him in the little leather jacket, dressed him just like Raven. And Tyler Fullerton, who was like 6 years old, he looked like a little miniature Sandman, Well, we're standing there talking to the Sandman, me and Tommy are, and this guy walks up. He's a head taller than all of us. He's at least like 6'4", 6'3". He comes up and he introduced himself to Tommy. He's like, "Hey, I hadn't seen you in years." And he said, "I'm Tyler." And it took me a minute to hit me. I go, "Tyler, Sandman's son?" And he's like, "Yeah." I never would have thought that's who that was. But there he was, little Tyler, all grown up.
He was still dressed like Raven, though.
I think they're still pretty close, actually.
He's a good boy, man. It's good to see him. Yeah, I didn't realize he'd grown up like this. Guess we getting older and the kids are growing up, man. Yeah, because I had to look up at him. Yeah,
absolutely. And then me and Doug went over and visited with the Blue Meanie, and that's another clip we're going to be showing in a little while. That was really interesting, Doug. Meanie kind of schooled us on the history of the 2300 arena from back at the very beginning, before when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling, all the way through, man. That was really cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really cool. When me and Eddie went up there and Todd, and we all started the Eastern Championship Wrestling that turned into Extreme Championship Wrestling. It was really cool deal.
He had a great picture on his phone.
And man, Blue Meanie's he's so cool too, and I love him. He's a great guy. He had the picture. What about the picture you got at G and Road, me and him and Eddie when he came out here to Memphis?
We're going to play the audio on the show here, but I'll put the video clip up in a few days on the Facebook channel. And he actually holds his phone up and we get a good shot of it from when he went up to Memphis, and it's a picture of him and Doug and Eddie. And Meanie doesn't have the blue hair back then. He's got a mullet a la Beautiful Bobby Eaton it. And just a great picture of the three of you guys. And like I said, Brian's a cool guy. Brian's been in the business a long time. He's done a lot of things, but at heart, he's still just a big fan. And you can tell things like Saturday, really mean a lot to him. And he was having a great time seeing everybody and hanging out. And you can tell he was excited to see you, because it's been a long time since you guys had seen each other.
Yeah, that's the truth and everything. I really love seeing him also and everything. But I don't know if it's just the building or from the past and everything. I don't even know if I ever want to go back in that building again.
That's fair. It certainly doesn't resemble the building that I saw on TV as the ECW arena. Like, if you were just in there and didn't know it, you would never know that's what it was.
No, that's what I told you. It used to be like an underground wrestling and everything. And Tommy will tell you the same thing, right, Tommy? It wasn't nice like that when y'all was there, right?
Yeah, no. But they had dressed it up a little bit. It was, it wasn't the raw build. I mean, they had worked on it. When y'all started, it was just like an old inside of an old building. Yeah. Just, They, of course, they come in and put the bleachers in it, to pull out bleachers. And I think they had them. And they done a little work to it. But, yeah, it wasn't quite as raw as the stories I've heard about it. And, of course, I'm not in wrestling for Joel, too. I mean, it was, they moved it on up a little bit, but it was still dated. And look, like you said, one of them back alley fight places or whatever.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews. Sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com. And to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to uswapodcast.com.
Some people brought some cool posters that Tommy signed and an NWA title belt. And Doug, somebody brought you a magazine with some cool article. A lot of fun there.
Hey, what about the Iron Sheik being my manager?
I didn't know that.
Tommy, that's a heck of a combination, ain't it?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Boy, I had fun that night.
Lord, I bet.
The dangerous Doug Gilbert, Bubba.
Hey.
We beat these jabronis and then we leave and get some medicine.
There Gene goes.
No. Good thing this is recorded. But no, I had no idea you'd ever been recorded or managed by the Iron Sheik. So that was definitely fun to check that out. So we got it. So another theme of this whole weekend, right, is like I ate dinner on Thursday night, and then I ate a little bit of something early Friday morning, and then I didn't eat again until me and Tommy ate that pizza at like midnight Friday night. And I don't know if it was the best pizza ever, or we just hadn't, neither one of us ate in a long time, but we thought it was amazing. We ate, that pizza was like, Philadelphia's got the best pizza in the world.
Slice is good. It was a good slice. So
it was great. But then me and Tommy gets up on Saturday morning, and we don't eat any breakfast, so we don't eat again until like 2, 3 o'clock in the. Well, I was after the damn thing didn't get over till 3, so it was probably 4.
Yeah, 4:25 or something like that.
Yeah, so we go to Tony and Nick's, which was formerly Tony Luke's, and we finally get a cheesesteak. And man, it lived up to the hype. That was some really good cheesesteak.
But now listen, the guy was still right. Joel was still right, because Tony Luke's is in the airport, and that's where me and Melissa eat breakfast.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you did get to eat at Tony Luke's after all.
Tony Lucas, I think is
Lucas. That's it.
See, I was going to go there, but when I went through the airport, I seen that smash burger, and I had to go get me a smash burger, son. And that thing was good too, because I already hit Tony and earlier. So I seen that. I love a smash burger, and it was every bit as good as Tony Luke's too.
Well, that's awesome. So we got us a cheesesteak. A couple of fans recognized Tommy standing in line while he's getting his cheesesteak, and got to talk to a few people. And we got to talk with the book folks. Come and had lunch with us. So we had a good meeting while we was there, and then back to the arena for the big show that night.
Also, Gene, the movie folks.
Oh yeah, the movie folks were there. Those books and movies. So all kinds of fun stuff in the future, folks. Keep your ear to the ground. So I guess we can kind of say it now. This we've alluded to it in the past that we're hoping to do a book with Tommy, but it's now pretty much official. There's going to be a Tommy Wildfire Rich book coming out. I ain't gonna say soon, but as soon as we can get it done, we got to have Tommy figure out a name for it here.
And a Memphis Mafia book, G.
And a Memphis Mafia book, amongst other things. So, yeah, man, a lot of cool stuff going on. So,
and also Tommy either being a priest or a lawyer in a movie, and we'll see how that works out.
Well, I'm going to show him this video of him fixing your neck. I want to see Tommy Rich MD as a movie. Like, I want to see Tommy as a doctor. I'm hoping me and you can get like some bit parts, And
I watch General Hospital. I could probably do that real good.
You got it down. Yeah, exactly. Dr. Rich, we don't think he's going to make it. And I come in there with my foot falling off, and we reenact the hotel room. You doctor my foot. And then the next guy comes in on a gurney like, we think his neck's broke. Dr. Rich, can you save him? And it's Doug there with his neck interaction. You fix him. And yeah, there's your movie right there. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we talked to our guys, and everything's good with all that.
So they had a nice crowd in there for the show that night. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. I was expecting like a really old school crowd. I was expecting like an older audience that was there for like the TWA and the ECW and all that, but it was a little bit of a younger crowd than I expected, and so they dug a lot more of the beginning matches than I was afraid a lot of that stuff people might be like, I don't know who these guys are, but the crowd was into it, and it was a fun show, and it wasn't like a straight up nostalgia show, but you guys, you had your match with Shane Douglas, and Shane Douglas had his mystery partner. So we can tell this now. We couldn't have said this before because it was a big mystery, but I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys knew who the partner was going to be all along, but I never did ask because I wanted to be surprised. So we're back there in the locker room, or the open area of the dressing room, if you will. And so Joel Goodhart said on a couple of podcasts, he said the mystery partner of Shane Douglas is going to be someone who's not at the convention, who's going to be at the show that hasn't been at the convention. So I'm sitting back there. I don't know where you guys were, but I see little Guido walk by, and I'm like, hey, little Guido's here. I bet that's going to be Shane Douglas's partner. So Tommy comes back over. I'm like, I think I cracked the case. I think it's going to be little Guido. Little Guido's here. And of course, Tommy's room. He's like, oh, little Guido's not here. That wasn't little Guido. I was like, little Italian guy with a square head. Yeah, that was definitely little Guido. And you're like, no, that's not little Guido. By that time, he comes back around the corner wearing a jersey that says little Guido on it. And Tommy's still going like, oh, that's not Guido. That's not Guido. That's some other guy.
Boy, but then once I seen him, I went fishing and I caught the biggest grouper you ever seen. My friend Gene, I said, dang, Gene. I said, you might be right. It might be little Guido. He said, I told you it's going to be little Guido. Yeah, I might already knew who it was. That's really nice.
I assumed you did. I didn't figure you guys flew to Philadelphia. Like, I wonder who this partner's going to be. So you guys come out for your match. Shane Douglas comes out, and his tag team partner is Pitbull #1, Gary Wolf, who ironically also has a new book out with THC Limitless, the guys that have put out the Eddie Gilbert book that we're working with. So he come out to be Shane Douglas's partner. Of course, you know, Shane Douglas famously broke his neck back in 1996, which has been a minute, but that was the premise of the match, is Shane is tagging up with this unlikely tag team partner to take on the Memphis Mafia. And
Gene, a minute, about 29 years, right?
Yeah, give or take. We figured that up last night. I kept saying like 20 years ago, and then Doug's like, when is it? And I said 1996, and you're like, that's longer than that.
Gene said 26 years. I said, hold on, Gene, I'm pretty good at math. Let's see now. That's 29 years, I think.
Yeah, I was like, I'm from Alabama, so I'm not good at math, so I'll take your word for it. But anyway, you guys had a fun match, and I got to sit back there and hear Shane kind of retell that whole story of breaking. Because a lot of people thought that was an angle, but like Gary Wolf really did get his neck broke on that DDT gone wrong, and he told me and Tommy all about it and the crowd reactions.
I think he still don't think that was. Yeah, I think he's still a little bad about that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to listen to that. I don't know where I was at during that time. But.
You done left. It wasn't just a few minutes after y'all's match. You had gotten dressed, you grabbed your bag, and you was in the wind. And me and Tommy we were trying to get our ride worked out, and Robert Gibson was trying to horn in on our ride, and he was trying to get me left at the arena to get Shane in my place.
That's what I heard. He was trying to get you thrown out the car. I need to say something to Robert about that, don't I?
Well, yeah, I stood up for Gene's dignity. I said, no, you ain't kicking him out.
See, people were worried. Tommy was saying things on the show last week about he was going to shave my eyebrows off and shave my beard off and all this. And you got people, just like you got me with the little Guido thing. You got people that, because there were people messaging me. Of
course, if you can see him now, he's got a shaved head.
I left my house with a full head of hair on Thursday night, and now I'm bald headed. Take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I had people messaging me, like when I got back to town Sunday night, people like, hey, what'd Tommy do to you? You know, I was like, oh, listen to the podcast and you'll hear all about it. So, but yeah, Tommy had my back. Robert Gibson would have left me at the freaking ECW arena. And instead, he had to ride with me and Tommy.
I'm going to have to get on Robert about that.
And then we ribbed him because he was in a hurry to get back to the hotel because the bar was closing at 11 and he wanted to have one beer. And he said, hey, if we catch him before 11, and me and Tommy made Miss Kathy stop at the Wawa so we could get a sandwich. And he's like, man, don't go get a sandwich. You'll have to go there and order on a computer. And Tommy's like, you don't order sandwiches on a computer, Robert. What the hell are you talking about? We're going in here. So me and Tommy go in. Tommy marches right up to the counter, and the guy's standing there looking at us. And Tommy's like, hey, man, I want to get a sandwich. And the guy goes, you got to do it on the kiosk. And Tommy's like, what's the kiosk? And I'm like, it's that computer right there.
And we was in there 10 to 15 minutes and looked around. They had a whole rack of sandwiches. We could have grabbed one. Yeah. But the bottom line is it was good and fresh. Well, Robert had to wait 15 minutes.
We watched them make it for 15 minutes.
Hey, what kind of sandwich did y'all get?
I had a meatball.
You had what? You had meatball, Gene?
Yeah, it was awesome.
And what'd you have, Tommy?
I had a turkey sub.
I bet that was good. I bet both of them.
Yeah, it was good.
So 15, 20 minutes later, we go get back in the vehicle with a very unhappy Robert Gibson. Robert, you're not going to believe this. And he goes, what? I said, we had to order them sandwiches on a freaking computer when we got in there. He's like, I told y'all. He was all fired.
Yeah, he was mad.
That's fine.
But we got back. He still got him a beer.
Yeah, a little security guy ran there and got him one.
Hey, who can get happy in them same britches he's got mad in, can he?
Well, he had to get happy in his tights because he left in his gear because he wanted to catch a ride with us. So he couldn't go in the store with us because he had his freaking tights in his boot. He even had the damn bandanas and stuff around his leg, like the whole 9 yards. And I was like, come on in, Robert. He's like, oh, I can't go in. I got my gear on. I'm like, well,
like that matters.
Yeah, like maybe you'll get a free sandwich or something in there. Who knows? But
and believe me, he would love that.
You ain't lying.
He loves free anything.
I got that impression. I did, but no, man. All in all, it was a really, really fun weekend. My first flight and first big show. I got to go hang out with you guys at. We had a good time, and we, like I say, we met a lot of fans and sold a lot of books, and it was just a good experience all the way around. And we want to thank Joel Goodhart and Bay Ragni and everybody who had a hand in booking that for us.
Yeah, thanks, Bay, for everything for that. And Joel has always been a great guy to myself, my brother, my family, and everything. And it was great seeing him. I hadn't seen him in so many years and everything. And Tommy sure hadn't seen him.
No, it'd been. Y'all was talking about 29. It'd probably been 35 or 40 since I seen him.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, we'll see when the next adventure comes up. But if you want to book the Memphis Mafia to come to your event, you can email us at DougGilbertPodcast@Outlook.com, and we will try to make that happen. If you want to advertise your show, your business, your whatever you got, if you want to advertise it, we've got some very fair rates. You can do that. You can reach out also at DougGilbertPodcast@Outlook.com, and we'll be happy to talk to you about what we can do for you on the front of advertising your business or your event right here on Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. That's growing. The audience is getting bigger and bigger each and every week, and we're on YouTube and we're on all the podcast platforms. So plenty of people to hear.
You might say the show's spreading like a wildfire.
You definitely would.
There you go.
Absolutely. So, yeah, guys. So I think right about now, here in a moment, we'll play some of these clips we talked about.
Hey, big shout out to my man Tony. That was a good plug you give me, man. Yeah, that's going to be a good. Yeah, y'all need to tune in and watch that. He's got some good clips, and they some, man. I know you filmed. We walked around. You taped a lot, but there was a lot of background noise, and we won't be able to show them all. But we got a couple that we'll get to see, and they really good. And
man, the Bill Blue Meanie and the picture of me and him and Eddie and him telling us about how everything had moved around. Remember, I was asking about how things moved around, where everything was when we was there and everything. He was showing us that and everything. That was real cool.
So right now, let's pitch to that. Let's take a listen to those clips. Like I say, you can listen to them here, but then you'll be able to actually watch them on our Facebook page here in a few days. But we're going to let you listen to all that now, and then we'll come back and we will wrap this up this week.
All right, back in '93, I was a year into business, working for Todd, and I used to go down to his office to pick up the posters and flyers to start hanging around the buildings in the area and all that. First set of TV tapings at Cabrini College for ECW. I go in there, me and Frank, we go in there to go get them, and he's like, "Brother, sit down. And he sits us down, and he's like, I hired a booker. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, like, who's this? Eddie Gilbert. I was like, what? he's like, hire Eddie Gilbert's our booker. And I'm like, in my head, I'm fucking marking out because I loved Hero. Loved Eddie, love. Major mark for Eddie, especially after what I saw him and Jack do for Joel. So, fast forward to the first set of TV tapings. We're going through, I think we did like the first hour of TV. Eddie busts into the dressing room. He's like, you fucking guys suck. He's like, you all fucking suck. He's like, what are you doing? This is TV. He's like, don't you understand you're on TV? If you don't get better, ship out. You're getting the fuck out of here. You're fired. You're going to be replaced. I was like, oh my God, we're screwed. And I made it to the second TV tapings, and then I was gone.
Do what? I was going to say everything got better.
Well, it did for ECW, not for
That was where, like, yeah, and then you did the scaffold match right up there with JT Smith. So the ring's exactly where the ring was, but yeah. And this was statue too, we did that point. That way, and on the other side of that parade floats, and that was the dressing room like that.
Now, and this is the guy that give us the history of this building. Yes, he's been here since it started.
I'm like
This is a historian of the 2300 arena, or the ECW arena, or the TWA arena, or depends on what it is here.
Dude, I came here as a fan, and then I got to be a wrestler. So I was like, best of both worlds.
Wasn't it Viking Hall before? Whatever.
There's Viking Hall because every January we have a New Year's parade called the Mummers Parade. And the Vikings were a Mummers Brigade, and this was a clubhouse where they would go floats for the parade. And that's what the bingo was for, was to raise money for building the cost of the floats and the outfits.
That's awesome. I never knew that.
ECW shows they would have midnight bingo and all the blue-haired ladies come in.
What about, I was telling my buddy here, the team, what about when we first come in and started, it was like almost like underground wrestling. Remember when this was just the warehouse, there was nothing, this is freaking nice. Bare bones, right? Like an underground guy.
This wouldn't be here if it wasn't for ECW first, because it was just an empty warehouse. You know, back in the day, in the 60s, there would be like a railroad track, and they would just dump off supplies here. And then the Mummers made it a clubhouse. And Johnny Hot Body found this building for ECW, brought Todd Gordon in, and then they started running shows here in 92, 93. And then it just evolved from there. Maybe the only original piece in here is that thing right there with the exit sign on it, that little stage right there. But other than that, it got gutted. Somebody gutted this place trying to turn it into a music venue, and they never paid the lease. Yeah, it didn't work. So the ECW people, the people who owned it, took it back over and built all of this. But that other side of the wall, that was all locker room. That was locker room.
Well, I see you get people tours sometime, right?
Yeah. During WrestleMania, the building asked me to give tours of the building. Even though there's still there's nothing here that was here, I'll paint a picture.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so that was the original entranceway where fans would walk in. You know, here's where Paulie gave the speech at, Barely Legal. You know what it's like, man.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
When I first met Tommy Wildfire Rich, he came in from Tennessee, right? Was it Mafia or Memphis? Memphis, Tennessee. And believe it or not, they brought Tommy Rich in to go around the circuit with Abdullah to be a jobber for Abdullah, because Abdullah just got back from Japan. Well, when Tommy came through that door, for some odd reason, it was like Elvis Presley coming on stage for the first time. People went nuts, especially the women. I mean, the women were just screaming and hollering and everything. So Abdullah started getting the heat. Now, I was wrestling on the hood then. I was a Black Atlas. I wore hood. So I'm back in the back. I just had my match before Tommy. So I'm in the back, unlacing my boots and everything. I took my mask off. Ole Anderson, he was the booker at that time, part of the Minnesota record crew, Ole Anderson. He comes running in the dressing room, and I got to say it like Ole said. Kid, get out there and stop him. We're going to have a riot on there. The people in charge of the ring. Get out there. Get your black ass out there. Go on. Get the fuck out there, you fucking piece of shit. Get there in the fucking ring, you black. Get your black ass out there. So I grabbed my mask. I threw it on. But sure enough, people were surrounding the ring. So I had to fight my way through the people. I get in the ring. Abdullah eyes are as big as 256 piece. He's scared to freaking hell. He said, you got to get me out of here, kid. You got to get me out of here. Now, Tommy blonde hair was solid red. You couldn't see one streak of blonde nowhere on him. I mean, red. It was like somebody took a bucket of red paint and just dumped it all over Tommy. And so Abdullah said, slam me. He'd never been slammed a day in life. I pick up Abdullah. I slammed him. My mask come off. Oh, shit. So we went back. Ole Anderson said, I don't know how we're going to follow that. He said, that should have been the last fucking match. I had no idea. This kid got over it. This kid is over with the people in one freaking night. He said, Ole saying that. I never seen her like. Next day we go on the show. They have a Fred walk with the. Who got beamed? What was his name, Tom? What was his name?
Freddie Miller.
What was his name?
Freddie Miller.
Freddie Miller. He's over at the end. He'll go beam there. Yeah. He was talking, and Ole always didn't like Tommy because Tommy didn't lift weights. He was like, Ole went to the gym. They all went to the gym. Tommy wasn't into the weight there. He was a hell of a wrestler, a hell of a performer. He wasn't into the weight. So he wanted me to take Tommy to the gym and try to get Tommy built up, make him into a muscle man, which he didn't need to be. He was already over. So I said, with that Tommy Rich, he don't have 20 inch arm. He can't bench press 500 pounds. But one thing about Tommy, when he get in that ring, he set that ring on fire. And then that song was out, popped into my head. He's like a wildfire. He's like a wildfire. The next day we went to the Army, there were signs everywhere. Wildfire, wildfire. And we had Harley Race there. We had Turn Funk there. Nobody gave a shit about Harley Race, didn't care about Dusty Rhodes, didn't care about Tony Atlas, didn't care about nobody. The whole freaking arena was waiting to see Wildfire. Wow. And that's the honest God freaking truth. And I never in my life ever seen anything like that since I've been here. There's never been another Tommy Rich. There never will be.
And then out of that, that's when they put us together as a tag team.
As a tag team.
We won the Georgia Tag Team title.
Yeah, we did.
First salt and pepper team to ever do that.
That's right.
And like Tony said, we had like a 4-year run, man. It was
sold out everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We were so hot. Tommy opened up 2 towns for Barnett, 2. This idea. Harley Race was supposed to come in a world championship match, but he had a deal in Japan. So instead of coming, he went to Japan. So Bill Watts was the booker there. He got mad. So what he did, he going to create what's called Champions of Champions with a big trophy. So the people had to write in to see who they want to become the champion. Every letter said Tommy Rich, but only gave it to wrestling too. Even though everybody wanted Tommy, but what Bill Watts, who was a smart guy, what he noted, 90% of the letters didn't come from Georgia. They came from really West Virginia and Columbus, Ohio, and Dayton. They were the 3 places where most of the letters came from. So right there, Bill Watt knew that the biggest audience for Georgia, the biggest audience for wrestling was not in Georgia. It was in Ohio and West Virginia. And so we started really in West Virginia. We did the first show at that Columbus Center there. The hotel was right there. You go to take the elevator down and up to the room. And Tommy Rich opened up 2 towns for Georgia Championship Wrestling. 3. Dayton, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and Wheeling, West Virginia was not part of the territory, and Tommy made them part of the territory. So he expanded Georgia Championship Wrestling, and that's all the God truth. And I can say that right now because he's right here. If I got something on, he would tell me that is wrong. That's awesome. But that's Tommy Wildfire Rich. He's the most underrated wrestler that ever been in this business. How many people can become world champion and not be in the Hall of Fame? How in the fuck is that possible? World NWA beat Harley Race. How many people say they beat Harley Race? He beat Harley Race for the title, the toughest SOB walking the face of earth. This man beat him for the title.
I say all the time, why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Makes no sense.
It pissed me off every time they talk about Hall of Fame and Tommy's name is not on there. World champion.
Yeah.
World NWA world champion. And back there, that's when it was a real world champion. They don't have world champion, but they had territory champion now. They call them world champion, but they're really world champion. The world champion wrestled in Japan, Australia, New Zealand, England, right? The NWA went everywhere. Harley went everywhere. Tommy went everywhere with the defender belt. Turf Funk defender belt in Japan. They went everywhere with that belt, So the best day of my life was going to be when I see they put Tommy Rich in the Hall of Fame. That's going to be a happy day for me. I hope I live to see it.
Hey, Gene, Dougie, thank y'all very much, man. It's been another great show. Just a big shout out to all the fans. Tell your friends to tune in if they love some good gossip about wrestling. Ain't busting nobody's balls or nothing, but here's some good stories. You need to tune into this, and I can look forward to every Monday or Tuesday when we do the show. I always look forward to it, and got a lot of things going on. Got the Mayfield, Kentucky, got the Metropolis, the Superman thing. Excited about that. And, just a lot of things going on. I'm glad to be a part of it. And, Dougie, I'm going to leave it with you, brother.
Man, look, I had a great time in Philly with y'all two guys and everything. And I appreciate all that y'all done with me up there and everything. I had a good time. And, man, like I said, I love doing stuff with y'all guys. And, like I said, Gene, if anybody wants to put Tommy and myself, and like I said, we've got guys now that are going to do movie stuff with us, and there's just a lot of stuff going on and everything. But we just want to thank everybody for following the podcast, and like I said, Pete, we love everybody that's watching it, and peace, we're out.
In the heart of Tennessee, born with pride, Doug and Tommy taking rings in stride. Memphis legends never backing down, wrestling warriors, they wear the crown. Used to be away, glory in their veins, fighting legends, breaking chains. In the square circle they made their name. Podcast champions, it's their claim to fame. On the mic they roar, on the map they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. Podcast kings ruling the waves. Memphis wrestling raising the stage. From title belts to Hall of Fame, Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughter, and cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more.